Laura Loomer, Ollie Alexander in Minneapolis.
And Jacob, whoa.
Well, and me, yours truly. Everybody pile into the stream here, retweet this. We're here in Minneapolis. We've rented out a hipster coffee shop for our own use. We're ready to expose Ilhan Omar's sham marriage.
Yes.
Laura, tell us about the area. Tell everybody about Minneapolis.
Some of the nicknames here in Minneapolis or for the state of Minnesota are Little Mogadishu. I spent many months here on the ground in Minnesota prior to Ilhan being elected during the campaign, trying to warn Americans about this woman. I confronted her. I believe I'm probably the only journalist in the world who's ever asked her point blank why she married her brother.
Yeah.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, yeah, she's okay. As I feel she go too fast, you know.
Hey guys.
Too fast, too big, too quick, right?
She have to slow down.
Slow down, learn a little bit more.
Honestly, I don't even know nothing about her too. I know she's a Congress, in the government, but I don't know nothing about her.
Ilhan, she married her brother to bring him in. Did you hear about this?
That's rumors, yeah, we hear, but
You think they're true?
nothing's fact, so.
The common religion in Minneapolis is Muslim. Most likely Muslim.
Representative Ilhan Omar, I guess, is she the most popular politician in the state now? Would you say she's got the best name recognition out there?
No, not at all. I think she has the most media coverage recently because of some of the things that she said, the same way Jussie Smollett does in Chicago, and he's not the biggest thing in Chicago. So, no.
If people are coming to this country because of what they're going to gain monetarily rather than their freedom and liberty, that's a tragedy.
We are here in Little Mogadishu investigating Democrat Representative Ilhan Omar. The progressive freshman has recently caught the fire and ire of both parties for comments that were received as anti-Semitic. There are allegations from within the Somali community here that she married her brother, committing immigration fraud, and she has written letters to judges asking for lighter sentences for ISIS fighters.
Got Laura Loomer here.
Hey guys.
And we're headed over to Ilhan Omar's house as we speak to serve her with papers. As you can see here, we've got the documents right in front of us.
We have a sworn affidavit, and we're going to ask her to sign this, to swear under the penalty of perjury in the law that she didn't marry any of her biological siblings, including her, her brother. All right. Here we are. Are we rolling? All right, guys, Laura Loomer here. We are here in Minneapolis, Minnesota at Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's home, about to serve her with a sworn affidavit swearing under penalty of perjury that she has never married any of her biological siblings. So let's go.
The media has characterized a lot of us as one thing. We don't believe we're that thing. And so making the process transparent allows the public to make their own decision.
The lights are on.
To be agile and adapt, I think is journalism. I don't have an interest. I want to know, did Ilhan Omar marry her brother or not? Is this a conspiracy that started within her own community and then has trickled to partisan opponents, or is this, real? And right now the evidence is looking real. Laura's investigation has been wonderful. Alpha News has been wonderful. Powerline has been wonderful. The bar at Culttture is high. I called Jacob, or Jacob called me, and we were talking about his viral petition. And I said, I'm going up to Minnesota, and I want you to come, and I want Laura to come.
The lights are on. Anybody home? Well, No answer. I guess we're just gonna have to go try her office, right?
It kind of hurts my heart, you know? But it's also, you have to kind of illuminate the truth. We caught an ISIS flag, and under the a slogan says, like, long live the caliphate, or something about the positive about the caliphate.
You know, it's interesting. I was looking through the windows, and it looks a little empty. I wonder if she's moving her place now that she is newly elected. It's sad that this is what you have to do in America in this day and age, but you know, I traveled to Minneapolis, Minnesota 7 months ago. I confronted Ilhan Omar, who was then candidate Ilhan Omar at the time, and I asked her if she married her brother. I asked her why she married her brother, because the evidence is already there. We just want to clear the record.
So that is afforded to all of us.
What about justice for little girls, Ilhan? You voted against legislation that would have made FGM a felony. Why is she so hateful against Israel?
Time for
Ilhan! She married her brother. Ilhan, why did you marry your brother?
I'm a pretty generous person because I'm giving Ilhan Omar the opportunity to sign a sworn affidavit under penalty of perjury that she has never in her life before married any of her biological siblings. So we're going to try Ilhan Omar later too. But for now, we're going to go pay her a visit at her office.
What I've determined, what must be going on, is that the people just don't feel like it's a threat. And guess what? The majority of the Somali community is not a threat. The majority of the Muslim community is not a threat. But, you know, it is a percentage.
Please ring, okay. Omar comes into the events.
Yeah, right here in this room.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, right here in this building. It's same. We have
In the restaurant?
Yeah, in the restaurant we have a hall inside. Yeah, so they do events sometimes. Usually they do like weddings, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. One time I met her in the U.S. Bank Stadium, which is the day that we celebrate for Eid. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Eid? Yeah. That's the day that I met her first time, and then 2 times I met her over here in this hall.
Amazing. I'm so excited about this meal. It's gonna be my favorite meal of the trip.
This one's completely, permanently shut. I don't know. It's 9:17. Should be open. I'm gonna call him. We're gonna call him here.
Sorry, extension number 61233312772 didn't answer. You've reached the voicemail of extension number 6.
This is really bizarre.
Phone number is
because
disconnected.
If you are a congresswoman or an elected member of the government, you're supposed to have a congressional voicemail or an official voicemail that says, thank you for calling the office of, you know, so-and-so or whichever representative. And you're supposed to be able to have other numbers as well, like if you want to contact the DC office. So
I'm at a loss here. The house that she lists on her disclosures is empty. Her office is shuttered. I don't know what to do. It appears she's an absentee congresswoman. copy of our affidavit and we'll slide it under the door. I think that's really all we can do right now. Went over to the office next. The office, her local district office. It's a sham office. They have a sign of her on the door, but nobody's there. Nobody's working. They don't even have a functioning voicemail box. I mean, it's very bizarre. I don't. It is bizarre. For all I know, she lives, you know, somewhere else. I mean, the house is totally vacant, and her office is non-existent.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the one that's listed on her website or whatever?
Yep. 404 3rd Street, I believe, number 203. I mean, they've got a nice little laminated picture of her on the door.
Only one side is leading to this institutional violence. You know, Antifa's not getting locked up. And what's most concerning, I think, to me is the first girl, Diane, who said, I found their place, it's on Airbnb, she's a blue verified checkmark, and she knew what she was doing. She tweeted a picture because she knew it would get reverse image search.
You know, like I said, there were people there in the community that were very nice. We had lunch at a Somali restaurant.
Yeah, I was walking around inside Carmel Mall. I was looking at some of the books. We're not in Somalia, right? It feels like we're in Somalia. It truly, honestly does when I walk down the street and I'm the only woman who gets eyeballed because I'm not wearing a niqab or a burqa.
I'm currently inside and look what it says. May Allah curse the Jews for eliminate the Fa'aliyah as illegal. I'm Jewish, and here we are inside, and it says, may Allah curse the Jews.
I don't want anyone thinking that we're making this up, so I'm just gonna go very close and you can take a screenshot of this and you can see for yourself on page 56, it clearly says, may Allah curse the Jews.
Hi there. We're journalists on town for business for a report we're doing, and we received a couple of death threats.
Yeah, we watched it progress over 24 hours to what you're seeing now, and that's a steady stream coming in every couple hours.
But we picked out the most credible and actionable threats. And obviously we don't want anything to happen. Right. We just want to come in and our counsel told us that we want to make sure you get this on paper in the event that anything does happen, at least you've reported it.
Does anything happen? Yeah, there's one woman in our building who, pointed us out. There were two gentlemen, I think this morning, outside that were casing the joint.
All set. It's been reported, and she put it into Homeland Security as well. They're not messing around with Antifa here, fortunately.
The deep irony, right? Representative Omar wants to abolish the Department of Homeland Security. Then we came to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, to follow through on this compelling investigation and these two provocateurs.
We're just putting together the final report on our Ilhan Omar investigation right now, and I'll tell you, we've got her dead to rights. She married her brother. We went through forensically and we pulled together all of the rumors, all of the claims about Ilhan Omar's marriage to her brother, the motive, the intent, when it happened, where it happened, and how it happened. Everything there is to know. And we went through a process, including boots on the ground, that involved discerning truth from fiction with respect to the issue, and tried to disprove it, frankly. But it turns out that the claims are true. Listen, I could do this like WikiLeaks, and we could make some encrypted server and make people punch in some hash code, and then maybe, just maybe, they could download the PDF. and I don't think that would do the job as well as holding a big press conference, allowing the press to ask questions and cross-examine this document and vet it. And vet it. And if somebody in the press at this press conference can, actually disprove any of the claims in this dossier,
do the job they weren't willing to do previously.
Yeah, and if they can disprove anything we've written, anything that we've stated in that dossier, then I will be greatly surprised. So I was upstairs with the Culttture team, and I was telling them that, in a lot of ways, Jacob will go from Batman, right? This is this masked crusader. He's a little bit of a vigilante. He's not Superman and altruistic. He's not Spider-Man and has a soft touch. Batman beats people. But I said he might go from Batman to Iron Man, whereas everybody knows Tony Stark. Do you feel an evolution in your, and some people might cringe at this, you might cringe at this, brand? Well, I do. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the left likes to latch on to the fact that for a time, a number of months, I operated, long-term political intelligence and corporate intelligence operations under a pseudonym because that was necessary to operate in a covert fashion. And with this investigation, it's just the opposite. What we've done is we've brought in a camera crew. We brought in, I don't know how many live streams we did while we were in Minnesota and while we're here. Probably a dozen plus.
You go to ground zero. That's your approach, is going to ground zero. It's almost like guerrilla journalism. What has the response been like? Have you gotten a response from Ilhan Omar's office? What is the latest on your developments there?
Well, we shut down Minnesota. We have the newspaper, the Star Tribune, working against us. We have people tailing our vehicles, showing up at our Airbnb. We had Antifa give us, terroristic acts. So I filed a police report.
Oh, and we complain a lot, and in a lot of ways, the right commits more of this virtue signaling fraud than the left does because we're so righteous and we're on the right side. We have the truth, but we spend so much time complaining and not enough time reporting. It's time to make the system neutral or break it.
Either they can accept the facts as written and join my calls to have her removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee and probably Congress, or they can say, you know what, it's okay. If you're a Democrat, it's okay to commit immigration fraud and student loan fraud.
What we demonstrated to the media is you left all these readers behind. You left these issues and these stones unturned, and now there's a freshman congressperson who, may not be up to snuff.
Here we go. All right, let's go. It took a level of fearlessness on the part of our sources, on the part of everyone involved, and that's what we need to see more of. We need to see people getting on the ground. We need to see people betting money on something that either could fail entirely for one reason or another, or B, could actually tell people what they don't want to hear. As we said at the outset, there was a decent chance that we were going to go into this, and I think privately you and I probably both thought that we would go down on the ground and we would disprove these things. And
there was some nuance to find.
Yeah, and we would come back with a pretty disappointing message for right-wingers. Does everybody have a report there in the back? Thing as basic as a list of her siblings. She wasn't willing to provide the Associated Press. She admits to marrying a man by the name of Mr. Elmi, Ahmed Elmi. She admits this. She released a public statement. She said she did it. And so the real question was, is this man her brother? On the first page and on the preceding pages, we lay out voluminous social media evidence, all verified, all with footnotes, all with the proof. Again, she admits to marrying Mr. Elmi in a public statement that's on the record that is completely admitted. In 2009, she claims that they had a cultural divorce, not a formal divorce, no court filings, no records, no statements. She can't provide any of that. She's got nothing legally. But in 2009, she had no trouble with Mr. Elmi, who at the time was seeking citizenship and at the time seeking student loans that hinged on this marriage. In 2009, she's living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's right, Ilhan Omar is living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a district where she now represents. But she moved to Fargo, North Dakota. With her new husband. Newlyweds, they move out of town. What could be better than Fargo, North Dakota? But guess who moves with her? Into the same house. The ex-husband who she just got a divorce from. What could be better than that? In 2011, Ilhan Omar gets married to the original husband again. What are the odds? Another spiritual divorce and another marriage to the original husband, the father of her two kids. She doesn't formalize that marriage until 2017, and she pays a law firm to do it with her campaign funds, ends up paying a $2,200 fine, all laid out in this report. You are not going to find a single inaccuracy in this report.
Petition on change.org. It's a viral petition, 200,000 people.
We have a petition with 200,000 signatures from Americans that said it's time for Ilhan Omar to step down from the House Foreign Affairs Committee.
Thanks, David.
Thanks.
House Resolution 183, resolution condemning anti-Semitism as hateful expressions of intolerance that are contradictory to the values and aspirations that define the people of the United States.
407 The nays are 23, voting present 1. 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The resolution is agreed to, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
I thank the gentleman for yielding, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to vote yes on this measure today. I do have concerns about how we're dealing with these issues, but obviously all forms of hatred and bigotry are intolerable.
We're here today because a member of this body issued a series of anti-Semitic statements. Some have said that to specifically condemn these statements and to remove her from her committee assignments would stifle legitimate criticism of Israel. But the problem with that argument is this. The comments made were not directed at Israel, were not directed to policy, were not directed towards the American-Israel relationship. They were instead directed to Americans with the allegation that they have a dual loyalty.
As a Jewish member of Congress who lost family in the Holocaust and whose grandfather fought the Nazis, I need no reminder about our responsibility to confront bigotry, hatred, and intolerance wherever it is found. Anti-Semitism is being treated differently than other forms of bigotry and hatred. There shouldn't be an asterisk next to anti-Semitism, and I'll continue to fight it. Thank you.
I decided to vote against it because I think it was really clearly an effort to actually protect Ilhan Omar. And they've got a real problem. I mean, the extent to which they are now abiding by anti-Semitism, enabling anti-Semitism in their party is something we watch them struggle with, but something that's very dangerous for the country.
Let's all be honest with each other. We are here today, right now, because of anti-Semitic rhetoric from one member of this chamber said again and again and again. We would not be on this floor right now otherwise to discuss this topic. If that member was a Republican, that member's name would be in this resolution, and this resolution would be all about condemning anti-Semitism, and it would be done so forcefully. It's time to call out these statements for what they are.
They even refrained from naming the Congresswoman. Then they even watered it down further because they could not pass it because of this new progressive wing of the party.
Do you believe that there are Democrats who think Ilhan Omar should be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee?
I've had Democrat members come up to me and say that, yes.